Hey, my name's Anthony.
My name's Alex.
And we are
The PTA Podcast.
What's happening, everybody? Thank you for tuning in again for another episode of the PTA
going on, people?
Podcast. Alex and I really appreciate the support. Before we start, though, don't forget to like and subscribe to us on YouTube and Spotify. Thanks a lot.
Bro, my eye.
Alrighty. Are you okay, sir?
Cuz. So happens when you have long, beautiful eyelashes. Anyway.
All right, so today's episode is kind of going to be the opposite of what we spoke about in our last episode. Our last episode, we spoke a lot about why obesity levels are getting higher and higher every year, even though we've got so much accessibility to all this knowledge around how to be healthier, right? Obviously, we delved in deep into that kind of stuff and gave our personal reasons as to why. But what today's episode is about the shift that I've seen personally, and I know you agree, around health. And I believe there's a new definition to health in 2026.
Yep.
Right? Every single doctor that we listen to at the moment on social media, and that I studied from, and I know you listen to them as well, all speak about the fact that your health is no longer judged now based on how skinny you are. And that there's so many other aspects of health that we need to take into account, right? Today we're learning about, something as simple as the fact that the scale tells us literally nothing about what's happening inside the body. It's just your relationship with gravity at the time, for example. Some of the things that we always speak about now and that we hear a lot about now is about the fact that, skinny doesn't automatically mean healthy. Why the rise of what we term as metabolic health testing is really important, like things like blood sugar tests and chronic inflammation testing. Chronic inflammation and disease and what that actually does to the body and where that stems from and what that causes to the body in all different aspects. Things like omega-3 balance, things like talking about our cellular health, things like, muscle as being the organ of longevity. Why recovery is becoming an important part of training. If anything, it's just as important.
Yep.
And a really good example is what sauna can do, what a sauna can do for your health, brain health, heart health, stress levels, fat loss, rejuvenation of cells, muscle building, recovery, when you do it 3, 4, 5 times a week. And obviously for detoxing purposes as well.
Yeah.
We look at, the future of personalized health, which is getting better and better and better. And I truly believe that it's going to only get better, especially with the introduction of AI. The importance of blood testing, body composition testing, and omega testing, for example, and why people need a coach and not just information. And before we delve into everything that I just spoke about, I want to kind of bring up one point. The research that's always out there now, and that's constantly being done, and industry trends as well, are increasingly pointing towards strength training, recovery, muscle mass, and metabolic health and longevity as major health priorities moving forward. And not losing weight on a scale.
Yeah.
Or starving yourself, right? Or fasting, or being on a 1,200 calorie diet, for example, right? So I know I just mentioned a lot there, but they're the things that we talk about every single day.
100%.
And to multiple people every day, right? And I love the fact that the whole, not just in Australia, but around the world, that definition of health is changing. But it's coming into the gym as well. Because we're understanding now that the gym and building muscle is a huge aspect of health. And we've mentioned a couple of times in our podcast episodes in the past that health is multifaceted.
Yep.
Right? We've got that holistic approach to health. We learned that shit in high school, bro. But nobody talks about it.
Yeah, I know.
And I don't understand why. You need to have social health. You need to have spiritual health. You need to have physical health. You need to have emotional health. You need to have mental health.
We need to have a balance of all of them.
They all need to be looked after in some way, shape, or form. But how are we able to do all of that without it costing us stupid amounts of money, I should say, or costing us a lot of time in our week? How do we cover it all?
This is where I will go back to saying just
Keep it simple.
Yeah, just nail the basics.
Stupid.
Nail the basics. I was saying to one of the clients yesterday, if you watch a podcast episode of our podcast, I think I say it at least once every 2 episodes to nail the basics. And people, again, they look past that. And, when people say, what do you mean by basics? Focus on sleep, focus on hydrating yourself, Focus on eating good quality food, and with that,
Yeah.
don't be lazy. Prep your own food if you need to. Like, don't be lazy. Move. Even if you can't get into a gym, go for a walk. Do some bodyweight stuff. Man, I remember being a kid doing push-ups in my bedroom and dips off my bed. Like, you can do things. You know what I mean?
Of course you can. Yeah.
And
Go to
this
the
is
park.
where, go to
Monkey bars.
it's actually legislation that every single park has an outdoor.
Little gym.
Call it a gym.
I
A
think
little
it's the
outdoor gym.
coolest
It's
thing.
great.
I think it's so good.
Yeah.
But even then without that, you got
The
grass.
M5 track, there's one right
Even
here.
then without that, you got grass. Run.
Yeah, hard.
Walk.
Go for a jog. Get outside. Get in the sun. There's all these things that you can do that will actually improve your health from so many different facets.
Yeah.
Right? Improve your metabolic health. Improve your mental health. Improve your emotional health.
The amount of
Like-
talks that I do, right, and you know how much I'm pushing for them more
Yeah.
and more. Next week we have one, and I'm so excited for it, right?
We've got like almost 50 people coming.
Close to, the goal is 50, so if I can get close to that, it'll be quite the accomplishment, right? But even more, like, the bigger the people, the scarier and nervous I get, right? 'Cause
Yeah.
I really want to make sure that I'm giving them the right kind of info, because to me, it's like I got a responsibility to serve these
100%.
people, right? It's not about showing off that I got 50 people in a room listening to me. It's about the impact that I want to have on these people, right? The smaller the amount of people, right, the more mistakes I can afford to make. The bigger the amount of people, the less mistakes I can afford to make. I've done this for a long time. You know me. I've spoken in front of people many times, from hundreds, from 10 to 20 to 50 to 100 to hundreds to thousands. It doesn't scare me. However, what scares me is the fact that I need to make sure that I serve these people well, to my level and my standard I've set for myself. And covering some of these points is what I'll be going over. And so the opportunity that I have to be able to help them redefine what health is to them, to me, is such a great opportunity. And the reason for that is because there's impact that I can have on these people. Just like the people that I've studied from, that I've learned from, that I am influenced by, or really want to have huge impact on the people that are listening to them. That's the kind of impact that I want to have on people as well. I want people to turn around and say, Anthony taught me that. I want my kids and my grandkids to say, we learned that because Anthony taught us that.
Yeah.
Right? Or Judo taught us that. Or Dad taught us that. And for me, it's one of the most important things as well, as a part of what I'm known for in this industry, but also with my career, is that I've transformed lives, not so much from telling them how to do reps and sets, but also from what I've taught them from that, what's in here and what's in here.
Yeah.
Right? So people have seen my new Instagram account, the Faith Driven Founder, right? That is purposely put together in a way where I'm so passionate about what both of these aspects of my life have given me, that I truly believe that there should be one in the same. One affects the other, one impacts the other, both in beautiful ways. And they should never be separate. Like, you're not a bad Christian because you want to make money and you want to prosper in life, right? You don't have to be broke as a joke, as they say, but hold it as a badge of honor that you're broke and that's what it takes to be a good Christian. That's not what it takes, right? And I know I'm kind of deterring, but I'll bring it back. But so these kind of things that we talk about when it comes to health, it impacts all the aspects of health. I can't just talk about calories and act like that's everything that anybody ever needs to know.
Yeah, it's so much more deeper than that.
I can't just talk about, and I can't be talking about like I'm a psychologist giving mental health advice, because that's way out of my scope of practice, right? When we're talking about, the impact I want to have on people, I have a level of integrity and responsibility
100%.
to them as well,
Yeah.
right? So a level of integrity that I have to uphold to for myself, but also there's a responsibility that I have to them to not misguide them or mislead them.
Yeah.
Right? But I will spill the beans on a couple of things that I feel very strongly about. And that's that your nutrition plays a huge role with your mental health.
So does your does your training and your exercise.
And when it comes to things like your neurotransmitters, do not tell me that food plays no role, because the study and the research begs to differ.
100%, man.
Right? You got people that talk about genetics, and then I got people that talk about epigenetics. And epigenetics is the ones that parts of your genetic makeup that you can alter with what you do every day and what you eat every day.
I've done it with my own self. I'll take myself as living proof that you can alter that. I turned my own body, right? And I'm not going to say we turned my body from being an ectomorph into a mesomorph, right?
That's one of the
And a
many
lot of
things,
people
right?
will be like, again, back in the day when we learned about, the 3 body types that there are and whatnot, your ectomorph, mesomorph, endomorph, it was never a thing. If you were an ectomorph, that's it. You were always an ectomorph.
Well, now, the research that came out that you can actually kind of be in between.
Yeah.
Where over time you can shift from one to the other.
And that's what I mean. So just to go by your point,
So
I literally changed my genetic
yeah.
makeup of being an ectomorph and being born an ectomorph into literally a mesomorph, where now all I got to do is think about building muscle or losing fat, and I can do it. You know what I mean? So don't look at me like that. So just to go by your point, 100%, and that's where I see a lot of people not understanding, to touch on what you said when it comes to neurotransmitters, not understanding, or maybe they don't even have the knowledge, because people still freak out when I say the term, your gut is your second brain. And the relationship between your gut and your brain is so important, and the pathways that need to be maintained, that need to remain healthy for your neurotransmitters to fire between the two. So then there isn't a breakdown, because studies or research shows that breakdown is a massive, massive, massive cause of anxiety, of depression. You know what I mean? And people aren't understanding of that.
And this goes back to the epigenetics I'm talking about. And I'll give you a really good example. So just in case people don't understand, epigenetics is actually the study, right, of how your environment or your lifestyle or things like your behaviors can influence how your genes are expressed within your body, without having to necessarily change your DNA profile or your DNA sequence itself, right? Factors include things like this, right? Things include like your nutrition, your exercise, your sleep, your stress, your toxin exposure, smoking, drinking, right? Chronic inflammation, and the environment that you put yourself in a social perspective. Yeah? So do not tell me that you can't resolve an autoimmune disease, because you can. Right? I've seen it, I've done it with myself and many other people.
100%.
Do not tell me that if somebody comes to me as being infertile, that we can't fix that. Don't tell me. It takes time, it takes a lot of dedication, but you can do it. Yeah. Right? Do not tell me that if somebody struggles with fat loss, that they have a problem and the only thing they can be able to do is take medication to fix that. It's a lie, right? It's a big lie. That's why I have such a big thing when people say to me about PCOS. You got to get on metformin and pill. It's the only way to fix it. It's not the only way to fix it. It's actually the worst way. Because you don't fix anything. You just suppress stuff. Yeah, exactly. Right? It's
just a band-aid.
So when we look at this kind of process of health, this is where doctors are vocal now about epigenetics, right? And about your genes, about your genetic makeup. Like your genetics load the gun, but your habits and your lifestyle choices pull the trigger, right? So our genetics have loaded the gun with how more predispositioned we are, right, to flare up our autoimmune disease conditions, right? But what caused our autoimmune disease conditions in the first place was our lifestyle.
Look, I reckon I'm a genetic freak, but anyway.
Whatever. But our lifestyle, like your staph infections have not messed up with you.
No way. Very long time. They used to, but bro.
Yeah, but how bad were they in the past? Because we didn't understand what was going on.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah? Like at least once a week you're having to put creams and you're bleeding and with me.
Not a good time.
With the glands in my neck and the glands in my body that were all swollen. It was really bad, right?
I'll never forget.
Our mum is so funny, bro.
No. I'll never forget what you did to Joe.
Don't tell the story on the podcast. It's actually I shouldn't have done that. In hindsight, it's a very bad thing to do to somebody.
Best story.
Worst. I'm the worst friend. The worst joke ever.
Best story in the
world. Joe, if you say this, I'm still sorry for what I did to you when I was 16. Anyway, so
I laughed so much every time.
I copped the belting of Dad, bro. It wasn't funny for me. It was definitely funny for you. But yeah, so going back to these things, the definition of health, like this is why I believe that the rise in gyms is so big now.
Yeah.
Right? But not just like, the F45s or the Yard or us or gyms in general, right? Building muscle in general is becoming the thing to do because, hey, if I really want to be healthy, I need to have muscle in my body.
Yeah, man.
Right? I'm going to a gym at the moment where I'm training myself at, and I like to get out of PTA to go do my own thing, have my own time. The amount of exercise physiologists that work out of this gym, right? That train like people out of this gym, they're all elderly. And they're all like, hunched over and can barely move and they're doing such basic stuff. I love watching them because I know how much of a benefit this is having to them for their longevity and their health. But I just kind of, at the same time, I'm thinking to myself, I wish they started earlier.
Yeah.
Right, so they didn't get to the point where their posture was like this.
I find that a lot of people that are at that stage say that. man, I wish I did this earlier. I
you
didn't
never
realize
wanna
how
live-
good it will make me feel.
Yeah, you never want to live in regret, right? And I think a lot of people, when they get to that 60 and above, I honestly, actually, maybe even less, maybe 40 and above, you start to think about what the coulda, I woulda, I shoulda.
Yeah. And see, I don't want to.
Can't live like that, right?
I don't want to
So-
live like that, bro.
But we're in a very fortunate position, Alex, right? We have a lot of people that we're trending older than us. We're having a lot of conversations with older people. There's a bit of wisdom that they've given us through their own experiences. We're very blessed with a mother and father that open up and talk about their struggles to us and try share some kind of wisdom that they can put onto us from their experiences. But then we also have our faith that gives us plenty of wisdom, right, to manage and deal with the experiences that come our way, right?
Yeah.
So I'll give you an example. I had an incident this morning that really upset me, really frustrated me, and we spoke about it. And after he left the office, I sat there, and the only way for me to calm down and get level-headed and focused on my work again, because I didn't want to lose the day, right? I can't get the day back if I lose it. What I did for me, this is what works for me, was I prayed. And I just to calm down so I could think clear again. Right? I will deal with this incident, right? And with this individual, I will deal with them, right? I will speak to them. It'll all be peaceful. We will shake hands and everything will go back to normal. I know this, right? But I needed that 5 seconds of, hey, put yourself back in, right? There's so many other worse things happening in the world right now. Your little argument with somebody is not the end of the world. Get over yourself, right? And that's how hard I am on myself, because the only way for me to cut that kind of stuff is to do that, right? But more onto it, like leading from that, what did I do to kind of help me get better? I went for a walk. I moved. I got some fresh air. I did the things that I know are going to help me with my mental health. I sat and I ate. I sat and I just breathed. I sat and I meditated. I sat and I prayed. You know, I got up. I went for a walk. Right? I went to the gym. I had to leave because of the incident, but I'm going to go back and train again. Right? So I'm going to end the day well. The little hiccup that happened in my day isn't going to ruin my day. But how do we get to that point where we can deal with shit like that quickly? You need to have a good level of health.
Yeah.
From all the different multifaceted aspects of your health. And the reason why I say that is because if I think about the Anthony of 3 years ago.
Oh, but
right?
you would have absolutely snapped.
I would have gone home. I would have sat in my room and closed the door. I would have gone home and watched TV all day. And I would have probably just eaten a whole bunch of shit food.
Yeah.
Because I was so full to the brim with stress and anxiety that I wouldn't have been able to deal with that.
Yeah.
See what happens when you're healthier? You can deal with those curveballs so much better.
Yeah.
Right? And to be completely open with everybody listening, and to be you and Ben, there's a lot of change happening. And it's happening very quickly. Some people don't like it. That's okay though. Right? We will deal with the changes that come along the way, and we will speak about it, and we will come to an agreement, and there will be peace. And if it means shaking hands and walking away, cool. Either way, there will be peace. That's the goal. For me anyway. Right? So when we think about it from that perspective, do I really have anything to worry about when I'm in control of me?
Yeah, no, 100%.
But how do we get to that point where you're that level-headed and you can deal with that curveball that well? How do we get to that point?
Health, brother.
Manage your health better, because you manage your anxiety levels,
Yeah,
your stress levels. If you're physically fatigued, mentally you're not going to be there. Silas thing tips you over. You say something out of anger and then you're going to regret it.
Yeah. Oh, look, yeah, I can say the exact same. You know, I walked out of your office and, you know, I was fuming. And then a couple phone call from my wife, and there's some stuff going on with her dad and whatnot as well that, you know, pissed me off even more. And I was so close to saying, fuck this, I'm going to go home. I'm going to put my PlayStation on.
I don't want to talk to
I'm just
anybody.
going to block out the world.
Just going to escape. Yeah, exactly. But what good does that do?
I literally just said, you know what, bro? Why are you going to let what's going on affect you? And stop you from doing what you know you need to do, but also want to do.
And
so I put my training shirt on, and
there's always going to be a problem. If we're really reactive to all these problems, how are we going to look after our health?
100%.
Right? And so the beautiful thing about this new definition of health, again, going back to this topic, I love it. I love this new change that I'm seeing with how we define health.
You know what I love the most about it?
Right? Because it's basing health on longevity.
And
that's my favorite thing to talk about.
And I love the fact, 'cause I'm very, very, very passionate about mental health.
Mm-hmm.
And I love the direction that it's going, where as much as mental health is still at its worst in the world, you can see a light at the end of the tunnel though.
Well, you can see men actually speaking about, I'm talking about men because I'm a man, even a lot of women too, right? You can see the conversations around mental health coming back to, hey, you need to, one, talk about it, two, you have the support, three, you aren't a bad person or weak person for, expressing how you're feeling, but also, acknowledging what you're going through and then working a way to go through it. Four, use the gym as a place to help you build yourself up.
You took the words out of my mouth. And this is why I love the gym so much, because it's not just about some iron plates clanging together.
It's not an ego thing, yeah. For some people, it's actually
like
a place they go to.
Yeah, what it does, what this room full of different pieces of gym equipment can do for someone's life, from a physical point of view to an emotional and a mental point of view to even a social point of view, because of the self-esteem and the confidence you get. It's crazy and I use this terminology because it's that simple. It's crazy what a bicep curl can do.
Well, it's crazy what just getting into an environment of positivity can do.
It's insane.
And that's essentially what it is, right? But more to that, we both know from a physiological perspective, so physically speaking, the body releases those endorphins, which are those feel-good hormones after you exercise. So your ability to be able to be calmer and happier improves. The problems don't go away. How you're able to deal with them just improve.
Yeah, man.
Because you're in a better state to
deal
with them.
I know marriages that have been saved because the guy said, you know what, or the girl said, you know what, we need to become healthier, individually first, and then their marriage just improved. And I'm not gonna try to be dirty, but their sex life improved.
That's not dirty. That's right? For a married couple, it's not.
Which then obviously helped with everything else.
100%. And the thing with that as well, like, not talking about sex life, but just talking about the health. When you look at that, it's because they're both giving from a full cup, not an empty cup. That's what it comes down to, right? So for me, it just knows I need to exercise because I'm giving so much all the time
to everyone else.
That when I can give from a full cup to the two most important people in my life, my wife and my son, mate, I'm the best version of me for them, and it makes me feel better about how I am for them as a father and a husband, because I'm present. I'm not in the clouds on my phone, right? But even then, I have so much fun with my son, right? And I enjoy my time with my wife. I know my wife's in a better mood when she trains, and she's looking after herself because I know how good it makes her feel, right? As parents, we go through this kind of thought pattern of it's selfish to go to the gym and spend time away from my kids, but then you're caught with I need to do it, but I feel guilty about it. No, fuck, I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to spend time with my kids because they're more important. They're actually not more important than you.
Yeah.
They're not. Right? I know to you they're the most important thing. That's beautiful because you love them. But for your health to be the best version of you, that it can be, so you can be the best version of you, so you can give to them as best as you can, something as simple as getting up and going for a walk, watching your food, going to the gym, and being around people that are positive and uplifting in your social network as well, they impact all the different aspects of your health. And that's why I love what the gym can do, but also that's why I love this definition or redefining of what health is. Because for many years health was I don't even know what you could define as health. Right? There was the definition, but nobody focused on it.
Yeah, man.
I feel like now there's a focus on what the proper definition is. Right? And it's because people aren't fearful now of speaking up, even though it might be against the grain. Right? When somebody calls me, like if I give an example about what I feel is the right thing to do with somebody's health, and it goes against what Big Pharma says or what the GP says, and somebody calls me a certain name, right? I used to get so caught up in being called that I would never say anything. But now that name gets used and thrown around all the time, I'm just like, bro, find a better word.
Yeah.
Find a different word. That doesn't faze me. Call me what you want to call me. It doesn't faze me. When you're strong in who you are, call me whatever you like. But you better come up with a different word because that's kind of old now, right? It's just like when the left call the right that they're racist. It's like, bro, like, what they're talking about isn't about being racist. It's about the fact that if you're a citizen of this country, you deserve the rights of this country. If you're not a citizen of this country, you need to be deported if you've done something illegal. That's not racist. That's a fact, right? But the left will call you racist for saying that. How? How is it racist? It's not. So being called a racist now, it loses its actual meaning.
Yeah.
Because they're using it as a word that's a quick fire word. It's going to try and make you feel like shit because nobody for many years ever wanted to be called a racist. Right? A racist at the root cause of it at the root cause of like a root meaning, sorry, of the word is a very, very bad word to be called because it means a very bad thing that you are doing.
Yeah.
Calling a spade is not racist. It's not. Right? Me going out and making an assumption on somebody based on their skin color, that's racist. That shit I hate. That needs to be condoned. Make sense? Going out and making assumptions about people based on their surname, that's racist. Right? But going off a fact, so a migrant with a machete killing people does not get deported. Why? Because we think it's racist? It's not racist. Right? Get deported. You came to our country, you benefit from the things that our citizens work hard for. You want to take a machete and start swinging at people? You're not a citizen of this country? Go back to your country, mate. That's how it should be.
It's called the law.
It's called the law, exactly right. But unfortunately, the left have called it what?
Racist.
And Mr. Albanese and his party have called it what? Racist. So they'll let these people come around, right? Destroy the world and the country that we've helped build, right? But we have to cop it. And if we say something, we're racist. By definition, that's not the case.
Yeah.
Because the definition of the word racist, right? Or the definition of the word Mr. Know-it-all, as people like to call me, or the definition of the word egotistical, right? People are using them way out of context now. But they use them as quick fire words because their brains are this big and they don't know what else to say because they haven't got any educated arguments. Do you get what I mean? So this is the big reason why for so many years people never said anything about what health should be actually like.
Yeah.
Because they were called these silly names by people with small brains who didn't know how to actually have a good argument in return. So when you hear a GP talk about the fact that he or she, who are they? What have they done? I'm a doctor, listen to me. That's not an argument, brother.
Yeah.
That's, if you're leaning on that, try to find a better argument. Right? What have they studied? So do I have to have a degree? Right? Because the definition of a degree is that you just learned and understood what you had to repeat in the exam. Sorry, that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
Where's your real life experience? Where's the help? Where's the understanding of what health is from a multifaceted perspective? Do you get what I mean?
Where's the research papers to back up the claim that you're claiming?
Exactly.
Or
But
the claim
the
that
thing
you're
is,
arguing.
a lot of these research papers now, which is a very, very sad thing, right? And it's coming out more and more. A lot of these research papers, if you look at who they're funded by, they're skewed a certain way on purpose.
Yeah.
Which is very sad because you're using these research papers to therefore implement laws and regulations and things that are going to have a huge impact on people's health.
That's why people really need to do their homework.
It's so sad, man. I looked at ChatGPT just as an example, and I asked them a certain question about a certain study when I knew what the study was about. It came out with the total opposite of what I knew the study was about. Because why? This whole program is regulated and designed by somebody to spit out certain answers based on who they're regulated by.
Yeah.
So how honest is this stuff? How intelligent is it making us? It's not. It's making us a certain way to live a certain way.
Yeah.
And not question and not say things, right? So when we want to redefine health, we're going to have to go against the norm. If we want to redefine the definition of words, we're going to have to remember what they actually mean, not just throw them out because they're the easiest thing to say to try and shut somebody up.
100%.
Do you get what I mean? So when you look at it from that perspective, the data tells a lot of stories, but it also reveals a lot of lies, right? So this is why it's so important to understand how the body actually functions, what the body actually needs to survive and function optimally, right? And be as healthy as it can be, and understand that health from a holistic approach is the best way to go about it. And it's the only way, in my opinion, that we should go about it.
Yeah.
Because if we don't, do you know what happens then? Obesity rates get higher, suicide rates continue to get higher, chronic inflammation gets higher, people who we think are healthy drop dead from heart attacks and strokes more frequently, cancer rates continue to rise, right? Type 2 diabetes gets worse and worse. The list goes on, bro. Do you get what I mean? The list goes on. And that's the sad thing. So for me, it's like, no, enough's enough. I know you agree on this as well. Enough's enough. We need to really understand that whenever we look at health, it can't just be from, hey, this is what I started, so I'm going to stay in my lane. I don't believe in that. Because if I know in my heart of hearts that what I'm telling somebody can help them in other avenues of their health, I'm going to say it.
Yeah, 100%. Like, why wouldn't you
When I get told to stay in my own lane, whoever's telling that to me is threatened by me. That's what I've come to learn over the 16 years in my career. Right? Because of the fact that I know that I'm right based on the data and the research and the results that I've produced. When somebody tells me, Anthony, just stay in your lane, man. You got no right talking about that. I'm like, bro, where's your actual argument? Or are you just intimidated by me because you've done 6-7 years at uni, but I'm having bigger impact than you? Do Do you get what I mean?
100%.
So for me, I'm just happy that the redefinition of health is improving, and that people are starting to really wake up to what's causing the problems, and looking at fixing things from the root cause.
Yeah.
Right. That's why I have a really huge respect for naturopaths, for a lot of nutritionists, for exercise physiologists, for a lot of physios, for a lot of PTs. Right. A lot of doctors that work with the company that have a huge affiliation and pride in Zenzino. They're coming to the forefront with fantastic information to provide lifelong improvement and change in people's health for the long term, which is amazing to see.
That's a fact.
Right? So you can't hammer these people. You can't, because they are the ones at the forefront of this positive change in the wider community. You can't hammer them. Right? You need to support them. You need to understand that what they're talking about, you may not agree with because you just don't know enough about. Learn more about it, then you'll come to understand why they're saying it.
Yeah.
Be open-minded. This is how we've redefined health, because we're finally open-minded. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah, 100%, man. 100%.
Now, I know I spoke a lot there, but I had to get all that out. But before we finish up, is there anything that you want to kind of add to what I said, or one takeaway note for our amazing loyal listeners? 54 subscribers, I think we got. I was even better. 60 subscribers.
We're getting there.
Far out. That's mad. Oh my gosh, I never thought in my life I'd have 60 subscribers. That's 40 away from 100, Ben. That's 60 lives we're impacting. I know you're supposed to be talking. Sorry.
Nah, man. Look, the way I see it is, and I'll come back to what I said in the previous episode. People just need to take accountability for their health, and if we want to redefine what health means, which is what we're currently doing, and I've seen a massive shift over the last 24 months. That the accountability needs to remain. As hard as things may seem, or as hard as things may get, there needs to be energy put into looking after yourself. There has to be.
For sure.
There has to be, because you're going to get to a point, and again, I know that we speak to a lot of parents, a lot of men who are fathers, or who are soon to be fathers, or who are just, husbands. You're going to get to a point where you're faced with two routes, and that's either to be the man that you want to be and leave a legacy behind, or to be a bum. And I've seen too many people become bums because they're not bothered. Honestly, I sound like my dad.
No, but I think about when you say the word bum.
Yeah, I know.
That time we were younger and you had your shirt off.
Walked out with the fucking shirt off.
Dad yelled at you. I didn't raise a bum. Put your shirt on.
Legos.
Oh, Dad.
But yeah,
Dad.
you got two paths that you want to walk, and I know what path I want to walk. I want to walk a path where my child that's about to come into this world in the next 8 weeks looks at their dad and says, you know what,
8 weeks.
like that. I'm proud of my father.
Yeah,
I'm proud of my dad.
If my son ever said, when I pray he says that, I don't know. I'll need like 5 boxes of tissues.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like, and this is where I try not to get.
Can't help it, bro. You're gonna get.
I try not to get. But I try not to get like angry about it.
You're passionate, Habib. You're passionate.
The one thing I don't like is when I have this mindset of like, and it's just, I don't know, it might be a very just like a fucking straightforward mindset. I don't know what you want to call it, but it's just like, I have this mindset of just shut up and do it. Just shut up and do it. And then I have people say to me, oh, but you don't understand, when you experience these things as you're older or whatnot, then you'll understand. And I'm like, no. Hold on. I know I'm only 31. And I know I've got a whole lot of life experience to go through. But one thing I will not yield to is making an excuse when things get tough.
Look, you got to look at it like this. Simple and very easy to say is you can't. It's, most people would give up. You can't give up. Most people are throwing the towel. You can't throw in the towel. Most people wouldn't do certain things. You can't do that. Right? And the reason why we say you can't is because of the fact that if you do it, then what happens? If you do it, then what goes wrong?
100%.
A lot goes wrong. And you're trying to avoid things going wrong. That's why I believe you can't. Does you get what I'm trying to say?
100%.
So anyway, that's us for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. I know we went on a bit, but health is so much more than what we think it is. It's multifaceted and it's holistic, and you need to apply some kind of understanding as to all aspects of health.
100%.
But thank you again for tuning in for this episode. Don't forget, like and subscribe to us on YouTube and Spotify. Peace, guys.
Thanks, people.
Thank you.